Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today on Face Off, we are putting two of the greatest Doctor Who stories ever made head to head. Luckily, it is a subjective question. We are going to be asking, which story do you like better between Genesis of the Daleks and City of Death, two of the most legendary Fourth Doctor stories ever made. Now, again, I did phrase this purposely because I didn't want which one you think is objectively better or which one you think is more historically significant. It was very much just, which one do you personally like better? Completely subjective. Which one do you enjoy watching more? To me, that was more important to me than which one do you think should be preserved. You know, it's definitely not an It's Armageddon situation. This one I didn't let run quite as many days as usual. Usually these are up about 7 days before I record. This one's been up about 4 days, so if I have to, I may do a follow-up addendum to it. But this one is interesting. I expected it to be closer, and about the first 24 hours or so, it was. They were both in the 40%, so I was curious how it was going to go. But I did not expect there to be the gap between the two that there is. Now, between the two, and it is a hard choice because I love both of these stories. They are both essential Doctor Who viewing for me. Both in my top 20, probably in my top 10 Doctor Who stories of all time. Easily top 10 Classic Who of all time. Between the two, I do prefer City of Death. But that's because City of Death is literally my favorite Doctor Who story of all time. I love the location work. This is the first time that they filmed Doctor Who outside of the UK, and the location work is phenomenal. I love the story. Tom Baker and Lala were definitely on a high in their relationship at this point. They are just magical together. I like Duggan. I like Julian in it. I like the woman playing the Countess. All of the actors, all of the characters are so well done. And I absolutely love Douglas Adams' style of humor. I love the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books. I really need to read the Dirt Gently, whatever they are. That other series I know he's famous for. I've never read any of those. I need to. I love The Pirate Planet. I love Shada. I love his style and sense of humor. And since, of course, he has he wrote a large part of the story. He is one of the co-writers of the story, and his fingerprints are all over it. And it has my favorite scene in all of Doctor Who in it, when the Countess is interrogating him at her little chateau there. Why was he following me? Well, you're a beautiful woman, probably. One of my favorite lines in all of Doctor Who. Well, you're a beautiful woman, probably. Such a Fourth Doctor thing to say. Who sent you, Doctor? Who sent me what? I love that. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Thought the camera made a noise. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I love Genesis as well. Genesis is phenomenal. I don't think it's the best Dalek story, because the Daleks themselves aren't in it much. It's more like the threat of the Daleks, the shadow of the Daleks, looms over this whole story. Like, we know what's coming. But it's easily my favorite portrayal of Davros. I love Michael Wisher as Davros. I love any time the Doctor and Davros are in a scene together. It's just magic. They work so well. Those scenes are written so magically. The story does a good job of getting across who Davros is, his megalomania, his almost insanity, his infatuation with what he's doing. I really like the character of Niter, who is just so devoted to Davros, that he's so willing to help him. He's a really well-written character, and I like the actor playing him. He's actually in several other Doctor Who's as well. I believe he's in Silurians, Doctor Who and the Silurians, if I remember correctly, with the third Doctor. So it's really nice. I like that Sarah gets separated and kind of has her own stuff going on. So I never feel Genesis drags. I know some people think it drags a little in the middle. I disagree. I really think it's a good story. It's hard to pick, but I do love City of Death so much. I love City of Death. Let's see how you guys voted. So, at only 4 days in, we still have 159 votes, which is around where it settles, usually in the mid-150s or a little higher, even at the 7-day range. 52% voted for Genesis of the Daleks, 35% voted for City of Death, with 13% voting that it was basically a tie, which the way I phrased it was standing with mouth gaping open, unable to decide. It's like, how can you make us choose between these two stories? I asked the hard questions. So 13% were basically calling them a tie, or that they couldn't decide, that they were like, how am I supposed to pick between these? It's like asking me to pick between my children. I expected the numbers to be closer. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little disappointed. I think Genesis probably got more because of its historical significance. Which is the reason why, again, I asked subjective favorite more so than objective, which one they think is objectively more important. But Genesis with 52%, a little over half, and City with 35%. And I actually think this one has a lot of comments. The Oncoming Storm says, Genesis of the Daleks, it has that iconic scene of Tom making the decision to either wipe the Daleks out before it all begins or not, which is one of the most iconic scenes in the show. Really shows us what it's like to be the Doctor and have to make the decisions others can't or won't. Well put. Well put. Matt says, it's evil to make us decide. Yes, it is. Genesis of the Daleks is my third favorite Fourth Doctor story and my 17th favorite story of all time. Of all of TV Doctor Who. But City of Death is the easy, if painful, winner due to not only it being my favorite Fourth Doctor story, but my favorite story in all of Doctor Who. Or he says all of TV Doctor Who. Interesting. I wonder if there's a Big Finish he likes more, which is my favorite Doctor Who story as well. Interesting. Fortynth, or actually Fortyth. Yeah, I've always said Fortynth, even though there's no N in it. Fortyth. This is actually a subscriber that I go way back with. FT. I call him FT. FT has been with me ever since I was really active on my original channel. Because I do actually have a Star Wars channel called Prowl 1701. PRO 1701. Or Space 1701. It's a channel where I review lightsaber replicas, because for several years I was really big into collecting lightsaber replicas. And FT, another one of my subscribers on here, Isaac, they've been with me a long, long while. And so anytime I see FT post, I'm always happy to see him and catch up with him and see how he's doing. He says, hi, Prowl. I like City of Death, having just rewatched it this past week on DVD, but I just keep expecting General Veers to drive his AT-AT through Paris. Oh, wait, I'm getting mixed up again. But definitely City of Death, because as others mentioned, it is a simple story, and the trips to see Leonardo were cleverly woven in. Yes. I agree. It's always good to see FT. I actually chatted with him for a second down in there in the comments. Dom Moore. Oh, it's always good to see Dom. Interesting. Dom's post is only 2 sentences. Dom has a reputation for write me encyclopedia post. but it's a short one here. It says, definitely option 3, both too good and too different to choose between for me. It's just, I've never seen him make a post that's only 2 sentences. He probably knew I'd pick at him. Shamrock Particle says, both involve discussing the benefits of altering history for a cheap thrill, but Genesis runs too long. I disagree. City has the perfect runtime. Yes, it does. City also has more interesting ideas, better location filming, some Studio 54 inspired outfits. I don't get that reference. Some very beautiful women, probably. I get that reference. The original Dalek voice actor. So in a freaky way, both these stories involve Daleks. Why not? And best of all, it has some violent chickens sniffing felt tip markers. Only Douglas Adams could pull off that level of wit while keeping the story's sense of threat equally palpable. Well put, I like that. Pissed Up Presents says, alright, so Genesis should win out of respect for how masterfully told that story is, but City of Death is such a comfort story to me. A lot more fun, and I really feel Tom Baker is in his prime with City of Death style writing. And again, that's what the question was, is subjectively which one you enjoy more. Well put. And I commented on that and said Tom and Douglas fit well together, which he commented and said, I agree 1,000%. Bobby says, I'm watching City of Death right now to celebrate French Open Final Day. Excellent. I have no idea what that is, but excellent. Colin Coney says, not even close for me. While Genesis is a really tight 5-parter stretched to 6 parts, I think the story and characterization are a class above any other episode. Michael Wisher as Davros is sensational, and I challenge anyone to find another villain as thoroughly amoral and committed to the cause as Nider. Excellent. They are both, as I said, both are well done. and Michael Wisher is my favorite Davros, and he's probably the third antagonist. And were the Daleks ever used better? And I do mention down in here below that I think the Daleks themselves are used better in some other stories, like Power of the Daleks. I love the Daleks and Power of the Daleks. But then I also point out, as I mentioned here, that it's not so much a Dalek story as the shadow of the Daleks loom all over it, which was a point he agreed with. We had a nice conversation about that. Bananas Are Good, another one of my regulars, says, even though both stories are great, neither are actually in my top 10 Fourth Doctor stories. It says, but I would choose City of Death. I find Genesis slightly overrated, whereas City of Death is much more unique. Instead of running around quarries, they are running around the streets of Paris, traveling to see Leonardo da Vinci, and traveling to the dawn of the Earth. Much more interesting. And there's a cameo from John Cleese. Yes, there he is. You remember Mona Lisa, that terrible woman with no eyebrows that wouldn't sit still? And I commented on there, said, now I want to know your top 10. I have some criticizing to do, which I don't think I ever got around to. I forgot about that. And then he actually listed his top 10 Tom Baker stories. Robot, Sultaran Experiment, Terror of the Zygons, Pyramids of Mars, Brain of Morbius, Seeds of Doom, Robots of Death, Talons of Wing Chiang, Horror of Fang Rock, and Image of the Fendal. He said, but City of Death would be 11th and Genesis would be 12th. I told him, I'm tied up at the moment, but some major criticizing is coming. And I never did get back around to doing that. Shame on me. It completely slipped my mind. I've had a busy week. But yeah, I got to go back and do some major criticizing on that at some point. Especially Terror of the Zygons over City of Death and Genesis of the Daleks. Terrible, I say. Terrible. Terrible. And Robots of Death. Paul, who is also one of my fellow YouTubers, actually, he has his own Doctor Who YouTube channel he does, says, oh, okay, 2 great Tom Baker stories. I have to say Genesis of the Daleks, even though I love City of Death, as I keep defending that story to people. You shouldn't have to. Everyone who sees City of Death should know it's amazing. But Genesis of the Daleks, as it's a true best Dalek story, a great introduction story to Davros, and it's great to have an origin story for the Daleks. Well put. Beware the Shells says, just put in Talons, Caves, and the Girl in the Fireplace as well, why don't you? It's hard to choose, isn't it? He goes, Davros versus Duggan. He goes, nope, that is the choice from hell. First thing in the morning, can't do it. I'm sitting on the fence all the way with this one. That's got to be a hard choice to wake up to in the morning. Bobby says, easy, City of Death. JLo says, sorry, but Shada. However, if that's not good enough for you, it would have to be City of Death. And I commented, Shada's a great story. I love Shada as well. Unknown289, who is one of my patrons, and not only is one of my patrons, but has sent me several things as well. I actually have a review of a book he sent me coming later in the month. He said, didn't you do this? Oh yeah, he thought I did this one a while ago, and I had to point out, no, I had compared Genesis to Caves. But I had to go back and double check myself. We had a funny little laugh about that. And Problem B, he just gave me a lot of emocons, which are just like, or emojis, I think they call them now, that are just like, basically saying, how am I supposed to pick? Which my answer was a bunch of the emojis going. And that's what you guys thought about it. There was a lot of comments on that one. I might do an update on this one later. We'll have to see if I get a lot more comments and votes on it in the next few days. But yes, Genesis of the Daleks beating City of Death 52% to 35%. If you've enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you click the like button and the subscribe button. I always like that thumbs up button, and I'm always trying to grow the channel. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me that way. Everyone who joins at any tier level gets a free video request. I also have a P.O. box down in the description below if there's anything you want to send me, Doctor Who related or otherwise. And a link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well if you'd like to check that out. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.